Nationally known speaker, award-winning author, and founder of Preparing the Way Ministries, Ginger Plowman, says that when it comes to our kids, we can experience wine-free living in 3 easy steps. Ginger's DVDs, CDs, books, national television appearances, and articles published in numerous publications like Focus on the Family have helped to walk thousands of parents through the why, when, and how of biblical discipline. And now she's helping parents win the battle of the wine. And that sounds like a huge, impossible task. So we're here. We are all ears. And so what motivated you to develop No More Whining?
Well, Deborah, I participated in a 4-day interview on Family Life Today on the topic of biblical parenting. And throughout the course of the shows, a poll was conducted to help determine which behavior problem among children was most prominent and the most difficult for parents to address. And whining took the poll by a landslide. And so in addition to the conclusive evidence of the poll, as well as my personal observations after strolling through Walmart on any given day. Also as a national speaker, I've listened to parents all over the country express their heartache over their inability to get their children to stop whining. And so clearly, whining has become an epidemic in America.
Well, Chuck, you have no experience with this, huh?
Oh, gosh, no. With 6 kids, we've never heard whining at the Freebie house, so I wish I could say that were the case, but it happens almost on a daily basis. But I think you make an important delineation in your book, too, between the difference between whining before something happens and whining as a response to getting the word no told to you.
Right, and I do cover that. There's a little parent's manual included in the kit, and we talk about the differences in when to implement this 3-step plan for teaching children to communicate with self-control and when it's really just an issue of disobedience. And so that's covered.
You also explore, why children whine and going to the heart of the matter.
Yes. Children who whine in order to get what they want lack healthy communication skills. And really, parents shouldn't blame their children for that behavior, because children whine simply because they are allowed to whine. And parents are often responsible for the habits of their children.
Ow, that hurts.
And as far as the heart, what is at the heart of whining? If you look past that outward behavior, whining is an issue of self-control. And children who whine is just a general means of communicating to express their wants and needs. They are in bondage to their emotions and lack of self-control. And an addiction to whining does not make for a happy child, and it doesn't make for happy parents who are around that child.
Well, and therein lies the problem, because in teaching them self-control, we need to exercise self-control.
Yes.
Because I think the easiest response when you hear a child whine is to say, "Stop whining." Okay, and your blood pressure goes up and your voice goes up, and you've told them not to do something, but you haven't given them a response as to what they should do instead.
Right, and that's something else that I talk about are wrong methods for dealing with whining, as you just mentioned, and one of them is scolding. The parent who responds to whining by saying, "Stop that whining right now or you're going to get it," is training in anger and not modeling the self-control that the parent so desperately desires the child to learn. And then a couple of others are wrong methods for dealing with whining would be ignoring or giving in to the whining. See, I think that when children whine, we should view it as precious opportunities to train them in what's right, not as frustrating moments of inconvenience for mom or dad.
Oh, the giving in is the one that just drives me nuts.
Right.
I just tell them, I'm not negotiating with terrorists.
I love that. That's right. First off, to ignore them, that is to shirk our responsibility to train them in what's right. And then to give in by granting them what they're whining for, well, all that does is reinforce that wrong behavior. And, and sometimes it may seem more convenient for us to give in.
Absolutely.
Or to ignore.
Well, did you tell us about your 3-step plan?
Okay, the 3-step plan to whine-free living. In the kit called No More Whining, one of the things that the parents get is the little children's book called Whining Will. And it's a fully illustrated children's story that the parent can read to the child. And in the story, it's about a little boy who struggles with whining and how his mom teaches him to communicate with self-control. through the use of the three-step plan. And so that's how the child is familiar with the plan. So in the story, when the little boy Will starts whining, his mom says, "Will, honey, are you asking for juice with your self-controlled voice?" Honey, God wants you to have self-control, even with your voice. So step one is to ask that question, and that helps Will to take ownership for what's going on in his heart. And then step two is demonstrated when Mom has Will use the no whine watch. And Mom says something like, "Will, honey, I love you too much to allow you to speak foolishly. I want to help you learn to communicate the right way. And so go ahead and start the timer on your watch, and when it beeps in 3 minutes, then you may come back and communicate and ask for juice with your self-controlled voice."
Now, the one thing here, and I don't mean to laugh, but I can just picture, you've got a whiny child, you're trying to put this watch on him. I envision a big brouhaha with Mom struggling to get the watch on the kid, and the kid saying, "No, I don't want to wear the watch." And the next thing you know, this...
Then you're in a power struggle.
Right.
Well, okay, first off, that's one reason why I did that adorable little story about the little boy that struggles with whining. And it's not punishment. It's a fun story. It's very positive. It's, "I love you so much, honey, that I'm going to help you learn self-control." Small children, it's for ages 3 and up, and small children, because Will is wearing the watch, so far the children are really excited about the watch and getting to wear it, because it's fun and it's positive and it's a cute little thing that they can wear. You know, and as far as Mom battling to put it on them, most children are wearing it all the time. And then that makes it very convenient to implement the three-step plan.
Okay.
However, let's say that there is a power struggle. Let's say that the child says, "Well, I don't want to wear that. It itches, it hurts, I don't want to wear it." Well, then in that case, I wouldn't get in the power struggle. I would keep the watch with me, and when the child whines, simply, "Okay, honey, you don't have to wear it, but you can go ahead and start the timer, and when it beeps, then you may come back and ask the right way with self-control." And so just don't get into that power struggle, but still implement the plan.
Sure.
What kind of reaction are you getting from parents?
Oh, Deborah, it has just been absolutely incredible. And one thing that parents love so much is that with the watch, it's so easy to be consistent, because the child's wearing the watch when you're in Walmart and the grocery store, or when Mom's driving the minivan and the child's in the back seat whining. And see, those are the times when we're really tempted to give in or to ignore the whining.
Right.
But with a watch, the child's familiar with the plan because he's familiar with the story, and Mom simply says, "Oh, honey, start your timer, and when it beeps in 3 minutes, then you may ask with your self-controlled voice." And parents are telling me that when they're consistent with this plan, that their children are absolutely transformed in the way they communicate in 1 week or less.
Wow.
Yeah.
But what about the parents? The children are a little older, and they're thinking, "Boy, have I messed up. Is it too late for me?"
It's never too late, and I'm so glad you asked, because I want to encourage those parents. It is never too late to start teaching our children to communicate with self-control. And so I would encourage the mom or the dad that's beginning this training to begin by simply asking for the child's forgiveness and just saying something like, "You know, honey, it's my job to teach you to communicate with self-control, but honey, I've been allowing you to whine. Would you forgive me for not teaching you in what's right?" And then just simply communicate and help the child understand that while whining has been allowed in the past, it's just not going to be accepted anymore.
Well, Ginger Plowman, thank you. I think you're going to revolutionize the lives of some people who are have whiny children, and maybe even some whiny adults. Listen, if you want to connect with Ginger Plowman, go to gingerplowman.com, or you can go to harvest-tv.com, and you can click on the tab there. And however, Ginger's got a lot of books on a lot of stuff, not just whining, but other things. I mean, if Dobson is endorsing her, listen, there's some good stuff there. So check out gingerplowman.com. Listen, more Kelly when we come back. We got a lot of good stuff for you, so hang in there.